So we're just moving our body around those points. So you're making a circular shape with your shoulder blades. This is a beautiful movement for your upper back. The moves I'm going to take you through today are part of our morning stretch series inside My Pilates Time, and this little sequence will really focus on waking up your abdominals and also some nice movement through your upper back and shoulders. So our first place we're going to start is laying down on our back. So go ahead, take a lie down, and what we'll do is we'll have our feet flat on the ground, knees bent. The first move we're going to do is called pelvic clock, and it's where we move our pelvis around. And I want you to think about your body a bit like a clock face. So you can think about your pubic bone being 6 o'clock, your belly button 12 o'clock, and then the hip bones 9 and 3. So what we're going to do is just tip the pelvis towards 6 o'clock, and then around to 3 o'clock, and then to 12 o'clock, and then to 9 o'clock. So we're just moving our body around those points, and you can think about the clock face and try and make sure you can hit each number as you go around. Sometimes we have a few numbers that are a bit hard to reach, and so you want to go slowly through those little sections. And if you are not sure of the movement, I just go back in my mind to thinking about the clock face. And so you're going to move from like an arch shape, and then one hip bone will be up and one hip bone will be down, and then into a position where your low back is touching. So you just let all that happen. No need to hold anything too tight. But once you've got the idea of rolling through all those points, what we can do is let our feet be really light so that the movement is driven from our abdominals. And our knees don't need to move about too much with this either. So you can have a look and see how much your knees are moving. Trying to reach around for each number. And then the trick's going to be to go the other way. So I'm going to start back at 6 o'clock, but then go round to 9, go the other way, and then up to 12, and then round to 3, and back to 6. So just reversing. Again, just lighten up your feet. It's a nice way to release your lower back. And just noticing if there's a little section or a few numbers that feel harder to reach. Maybe even if it is a little section there that feels a little tight, you can just roll around those numbers a little bit more. So you might be going from 3 to 12. And you might just do that little section a few times, and then go back to your circle. Nice light feet so your abdominals are doing this work. And then just bring yourself back to being even. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our left leg and just reach the thigh and the knee out toward the side, and then bring it back in. We're staying on the left side as we do that again. Bent knee fall out. I want you to breathe in when the knee goes out to the side, and then breathe out when it comes back. Your right glute stays on the ground. Your right hip stays heavy. And I actually think about a connection from my right waist helping bring the leg back in. So it's almost like this diagonal connection that I feel from my right side down to my left hip as the leg comes back and in. My right foot stays really light as I'm doing this. So feet again, super light. A feeling of weight through the back of the pelvis. Really good for your hips, if you can keep the hips steady. So the opposite side's not rolling off. Okay, and then we just switch over to the other side. So take your time, feel even before you move. And when you're ready, out to the side and back in. The other thing I think of is my still side. I try and keep that still knee really still. It's easy to let it move about. And the opposite hip is staying anchored. You can put your hands on your body for feedback and see how you are going. The breath I use is inhale to go out with the knee and thigh, and then exhale, drawing back. Just let your shoulders be easy. Don't overdo it. It's a smooth, soft feeling. Nothing too intense. Good. Then we're just going to put our feet together and our legs together and come up onto your tippy toes and reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling. So it looks like my knees are in a frame I've made with my arms. Then I'm taking my knees over to one side. They come out of the frame and then I bring them back and in. So over to the side, my frame stays really still. And I think of the underneath thigh pushing to bring the legs back into center. I'm trying to keep my knees glued together. So it makes me feel like that top leg needs to be lengthened a little bit, and then the bottom leg pushes back. The bottom thigh pushes the legs back. Asking your abdominals to help you do this move as well. I usually find it's helpful to breathe in when you go over to the side and breathe out to come back. And then place your hands down and your heels down. Separate your feet to be hip distance apart, and we're going to roll up into a bridge. So you're going to tilt the pelvis and lift up the hips into a bridge, reaching your fingers towards your heels, a nice feeling of length in your body, and then rolling back and down. Again, just tilt the pelvis and then push down through your feet to open up the front of the hips, and rolling down with length through your spine. We do one more, lifting up and rolling back and down. And then you're just going to roll over to the side and we're going to come around onto our hands and knees. So crawl around, and then what we're going to do is we're going to move our shoulders now. So before we start, let's just think of lifting up our abdominals a little bit away from the floor. So I haven't gone into a rounded back. I'm just ever so slightly feeling like there's a bit of connection at the front of my body. And then I'm going to glide my shoulder blades towards my spine and apart again. So do that again. Shoulder blades come towards your spine. They pinch inward, and then you push the floor away, lift up, and they get broad. Now try this with me. So shoulder blades come in towards your spine, and then you're going to shrug your shoulders and then broaden, and then let the shoulder blades slide down your back, feeling broad. Glide your shoulder blades inward, then slide them up, then broaden, and then slide them down. Again, in, up, broad, and slide them down. And again, moving from your upper back. So you're making a circular shape with your shoulder blades. They glide into your spine, they come up, and then they broaden, and then they come down. Now let's reverse that. So keep your shoulder blades broad as you shrug your shoulders up, then slide your shoulder blades in, slide them down your back, and then broaden. So we come up really broad, draw them in towards your spine, slide them down, and then feel broad. And last one, come up, then glide them in and down and broad. And then just sit back and stretch your arms forward. Maybe give your wrists a little break, give them a little circle. Then up on your hands and knees and take your hands a step forward, and then take your hips a little bit forward too. So I want you to feel that connection between your ribs and your hips at the front. So just draw that connection inward And we're going to now think about our shoulder blades again. So here we're going to glide our shoulder blades toward our spine, bend your elbows in by your ribs and glide your chest forward and then straight back and up. So shoulder blades and then dipping down, push straight back and up. So think about your shoulder blades. They come in a little, you bend your elbows and then you push back and up. Shoulder blades first, reaching your chest forward, back and up. Just one more, in with the shoulder blades, little push up and then back to rest position. Give your wrists a little circle and then you're up on your knees. So pop your hands behind your head and think about if you had maybe a tennis ball between your knees and you're just holding it there. That will help you feel like your inner thighs are working and you've sort of even up through your pelvic floor a little bit. So just notice that feeling, a little bit of length in the low back, and we're keeping our body nice and upright. So we're going to go into a little side bend. So up and over, keep squeezing that tennis ball, because if you can do that, it'll stop you moving through the hips. So up and over. Use your waist. This is a beautiful movement for your upper back, but of course, feel your abdominals helping you get back and up. So you don't even have to go far. That's it. Up and over and back. Up and over and back. Bring your arms down. Next, just reach your arms out wide. And I want you to think of bringing your shoulder blades towards your spine and then broaden, in, broaden, in, broaden, in. So I'm just doing what we did on the mat on our hands and knees, but here. So I'm just gliding my shoulder blades toward my spine and then broad, in, back, in, back, in, back and down. Give that a little shake out. Then I want you to reach your arms out wide and we'll use the top part of the shoulder. All right, so I want you to drop your shoulders down. You've got length at the side of your neck. Tuck the tailbone ever so slightly. Strong straight arms and little tiny circles. Still thinking of lifting up out of your waist. You've got a nice tall posture. That's the way. So now you should not feel your upper back as much, more the top of the shoulder. Go the other way. Really stretching the arms out, little tiny circles, your body's staying quite still. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and back and down. Hands here at the front, and we're just going to slide your hands down so your fingertips are touching the mat and you can feel your shoulder blades really broaden. Lift up your tummy and then roll back up. Okay, and again, just sliding down, feeling this broadness, like your shoulder blades are separating. And then help yourself all the way back and up. Give your shoulders a little roll. And that's you all done. So if you are a morning person and you like to warm up gently in the morning, get your joints moving, ready for the day, then the full morning stretch routine is inside my Pilates time, and the link's just below.